that it is all good, all God. So with much gratitude, join me as we say together, and so it is. Oh, beg your pardon. I'm introducing the beautiful Lucile Park.
Oh, bless your
Welcome.
heart. Thank you. Great to be here, always. Thank you. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. 'Cause love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love, it is my decision, and no one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. Isn't that great? It's up to me to dance down the road. Love, it is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision right here and now. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lucile. Love that. Makes me, when I was a kid, well, my mom played piano, and my neighbor's parent mom played piano, and we used to gather around the piano on like a Friday night, and they'd play old songs, and we would sing along. And so just when Sylvia plays, I'm sitting out here, but from this vantage point, I could see the keys, and it just sort of brought those memories back. So thank you for that. So again, my name is Mary Lawrence, and the talk title today is Divine Nature Flows as Me. And I spent the last week sort of contemplating. I try to just sort of sit in in the talk title and see what comes. And then the last 3 days I spent taking notes and then refining and editing and, getting my talk down. And then on the way here this morning, I was listening to Reverend Michael Beckwith, and I thought, oh my gosh, I need to rewrite my talk. But I'm just going to go with it. And my prayer is that the words be thine and the voice be mine. So hopefully, I'm just knowing that Spirit is right here, right now, as it always is. So what is divine nature? I like to sort of break it down and try to define things. And here in Science of Mind, Centers for Spiritual Living, we've been called, religious science, science of mind, Centers for Spiritual Living, all sort of different titles. But what we believe is that there is one life. And there is one thing in the manifest universe, the omniverse, the multiverse, whatever it is, there is one thing. And we are all a part of it. And it used to be that January was kind of a back to basics month. And so I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but it's always good to be reminded. And we are all connected to the one life, and we are connected to each other. If anybody's familiar with the concept of Indra's web, where there's just this vast web, and we are each little cogs in that web, and that we are all connected. I love that visual. So what does it mean for divine nature to flow as me? It's remembering our own oneness with all that is, knowing that this one divine life is what animates our human lives. We are humans we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And we get so caught up in the day-to-day of what's going on in our lives and in the world and in our immediate surroundings that sometimes we forget. I know I do. Is there anybody else here who forgets sometimes? I try to remind myself. I pray, I meditate, I do all that, but sometimes I forget and I get in the moment. We come from it. We come from it. That's where we come from. And, we believe in the eternality of life. And so, when we shed this being, this physical being, that's where we go back to. And I am the only one who can live my life. You are the only one who can live your life. Spirit needed you to be here just as you are. And you have unique gifts. Some of us feel like, I don't know what my gifts are. I don't know what my talents are. And how am I fulfilling my purpose? And really just those spiritual practices of going within and reconnecting and remembering who we are, we are divinely guided, and that is the divine flowing as us. A good spiritual practice is to check in with yourself throughout the day. Am I in alignment with this flow? Am I allowing this flow to flow through me? And if not, if you don't feel like it is that you are allowing, what is it that's blocking you? Many of us, or most of us, have a belief system. And we learned it from when we were very little. And it gets reinforced throughout our lives. We spend our adult lives gathering evidence to validate our stories, right? The divine idea for our life is filtered through our belief system. So what is your belief system? I have discovered that my belief system, sort of like my underlying life theme, is that I'm not worthy. And the truth is that I am a powerful spiritual being. I am a powerful co-creator, and so are all of you. Let's say that together. I am a powerful co-creator. Again, I am a powerful co-creator. One more time. I am a powerful co-creator. Sometimes I'm surprised by the power of my co-creation, my manifestation. Sometimes I'm frustrated. They say the days are long, but the years are short, right? In the day-to-day, when I'm in the midst of waiting for something to happen, you know, it can get frustrating. Has anybody here had the experience of, like, I'm setting the intention for whatever it is, and then you go, is it here yet? I'm setting the intention. Is it here yet? Sometimes it takes a while, you know? And part of the co-creation process, because that's what we're doing, we are co-creating our life with this infinite presence, right? Part of the process is to allow things to unfold. Because it doesn't always look like I think it's going to look. Our job is not to tell God how. We just say, this is what I want to experience, and then allow it to unfold and show up, right? I've probably shared this experience, but when I was in the School of Ministry, we read this book for one of our weekend retreats called Tattoos on the Heart. And it was written by Father Greg Boyle, who's a Catholic priest in a Catholic parish in Los Angeles. And it was one of the lowest income, most impoverished parishes in Los Angeles. This was in the 80s that he went there. And so he was wanting to help this community. And what he realized is they need jobs. They needed jobs, is what he realized. So what he did was he started a screen printing business and had the homies, the homeboys, come to work for him in this screen printing shop. And it has since expanded. They do all kinds of amazing things there. They have legal help. They have anger management, 12-step. They have solar installation and a bunch of different things. You know, it's really expanded a lot. I went up there a few years ago. It's actually probably been 10 years ago. The years are short, you know. And did a tour up there. But I was so inspired by this book, I actually quit the School of Ministry. And I gathered some friends around, and I showed them this video about Homeboy Industries and the amazing work that they're doing. And what I wanted to do was start a nonprofit doing, like, linking people to jobs and social services and things like that. I wanted to sort of recreate that down here in San Diego. And nobody, I mean, they were all very supportive of me, but nobody really was ready to jump in with me at the time. And I had no idea what I was doing. And what happened was, a couple years later, I met someone who led me into working in a treatment facility with men and women when they get out of jail and prison. And so I started doing that, and I did that for a few years, and then that sort of led to my current job, which I work at probation, working with men and women in the jails and helping them develop a case plan and linking them to services, housing and food and substance abuse treatment, all that stuff. And what I realized was, oh, I did manifest that. It just doesn't look like what I thought it would. And, you know, when I allow things to unfold like that, I realize I'm letting go, and I know that I am going to be good no matter what happens. And it's that control that we hold on to. It has to be this certain way, and if it doesn't look like this, then I'm not creating, I'm not co-creating. I recently had to sort of put this surrendering thing into practice. I don't know how many of you have gotten notifications from SDG&E that they're going to shut off your electricity. Am I the only couple? So last month they shut it off for about 36 hours, and I was not really prepared. So when they started sending these notices out a few weeks ago, I wanted to be prepared. I'm out in Ramona. There's like high fire risk out there. I lived in Fallbrook for several years, and so I'm not unfamiliar with living in a high fire risk area. And so I packed a go bag. And for the first few days I had it in the house, and then I thought, I'm going to put it in my car. And I was kind of, checking, like, when are they going to turn it off? When are they going to turn it off? There's fires in LA. Are there any fires in Ramona? My head started going, right? And I started getting caught up in the energy of it. And I was trying to balance between being prepared and being centered and grounded and knowing that I'm okay no matter what happens. And that's sort of a delicate balance. That's like the human side and then the spiritual side, right? And that's the experience of being human, being a spiritual being, having this human experience. And overthinking like that, getting into worry, is about the ego. The ego, the purpose of the ego is our survival. So the ego is focused on survival. And in order to survive, it wants to keep things the same. And it wants to control. Right? So as I was writing this talk, my go bag in the car, I went to my file cabinet to do something. And I was like, oh, my important papers are in the car right now, And what I decided to do as I was writing this talk was just to reframe it. Just reframe it. It's not my go bag anymore. It's my go with the flow bag. So that's one of the tools that I personally use in my practice to sort of overcome those old patterns. Just sort of stop and reframe things, because it's so easy just to get caught up in the momentum of that, right? And this week I got the call. You know the call, those of you who are parents. Mom, right? I got the call. Mom, my son, he's like, Mom, I think I broke my back. I was like, what? Yeah. He was snowboarding. He had a collision, flew in the air, fell on his back. He is okay. He is okay. He has like a pulled muscle or herniated disc, something of more of that nature. But he can walk. He can feel his toes. He didn't break his back, thankfully. But it's the call. And, life can just change on a dime. So one of the other tools that I like to use are mantras. And knowing sort of the backstory of myself, that backstory, I'm not worthy. I develop mantras to get me through things where that story might rear its head. And I learned a mantra from a young YouTuber named Aaron Dowdy. And I say this one nightly. And I've been doing this for several years. And I sort of put my own twist on it. But it's, I am so happy and grateful now. And that's what any of my mantras start with. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities on a continuous basis through many streams of income. And one thing that I have to remind myself of, that I have fallen into sort of this trap in the past, is starting to believe that my employer is my source. The person who's writing my check is my source. And so what I've added is from one infinite source and supply. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities on a continuous basis from one infinite source and supply through many streams of income. So I just envision all the streams coming from, sort of the cosmos. And I have a lot of them. Since I bought a house last year, I've been wanting to buy a house. I've shared this a few weeks ago when I was up here. I've been wanting to buy a house for years. When I was married, we lost our house in 2009 after the big real estate market crash, and moved our little family from a third of an acre, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot house into this little 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo with our kids. And I've been wanting to buy a house, and so I did last year. It's been about 10 months. Woohoo! And so when I go to bed at night, I say, I am so happy and grateful for my little house. And I say, I am so happy and grateful that my kids, my puppy, and I are safe and protected. So I just invite you. I am so happy and grateful now. Wallace Wattles, in The Science of Getting Rich, talked about how powerful we are and that we could, in fact, create something out of nothing. I could say, I want to create a piano, and a piano could materialize. Jesus, the master teacher, and other master teachers have done that. They've created something out of what appeared to be nothing. Most of us, however, create through the existing processes and systems. Sometimes it takes years to achieve what we seek. Like I said, we lost our house in 2009 and I bought a house in 2024, So sometimes it takes a while. And like I said before, it often doesn't look like what we think it's going to look like. But the important thing in being with the flow and allowing the divine to flow through us is to let go of the outcome. Then it's important to recognize what we receive. Recognize it when it does manifest. As I said earlier, I envisioned this. It wasn't so much a career, but it was a calling to work with the most underserved, marginalized people in our community. Most people just want those guys and those women to go away, right? It's hard to face somebody on the street or somebody that we might be in fear of, because they've committed crimes or whatever. And over time, it materialized into what it is now. And then my house manifested after 15 years, right? And I think I shared last time I was up here that I've kind of been looking at, like, I'm approaching the gates of 60. And never been almost 60 before, so I don't know what to expect. And I've been sort of looking at, so what's next? What's next? Here I've, created this house. I mean, one of the things I want to do is create a beautiful space. It's a little rough around the edges right now, but that's one of the things I want to do. But I love teaching classes. It's what I love to do. I teach a financial literacy class to a group, of my clients on Sunday nights. And I was like, I would like to take this show on the road and take this class out into other programs and things. And it's pretty rudimentary. Some of my clients have never had a bank account, or they have and they really screwed up their credit or whatever, and they have to fix things to get a new bank account. And I'm teaching them how to save and invest and, blah, 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 compound interest and all this stuff. But what happened was I had that class, and then I picked up another class in the jail through my work, through my job. And then my boss called me last week and she said, "Hey, how'd you like to teach an anger management class?" And I'm like, yes. And so recognizing, oh, this is being drawn to me, I'm drawing it to me, is so exciting, right? So recognizing when our intentions are made manifest. And today's the last day of this current presidential administration. One of the things that they promised when they came on board was they were going to forgive student loans. And I thought, oh, that would be great if I could get my student loans forgiven. But I've been paying them. And I had filled out the application for whatever my specific circumstances are and justify why I think I should get my student loans forgiven. And I kind of, in recent months, have just figured, oh, well, I'm going to pay my loans, And I got an email on Friday that said, your student loans are going to be forgiven. Right? So it's really, this tape isn't really working, but that's okay. It's really about recognizing and being grateful and giving thanks. And the student loan hasn't disappeared from my account yet, so I'm going to have to follow up on Tuesday. But, it's recognizing. And Ernest Holmes said, one of the great difficulties in the new order of thought is that we are likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. As a matter of fact, we only know as much as we can prove by actual demonstration. That which we cannot prove may or may not be true, but that which we can prove certainly must be and is the truth. So recognizing when the intention that we set, even if it's just every serious thought is a prayer. So sometimes it's sort of a passing thought. It's not even something that's on your vision board or, that you've really sat down and journaled about and written it as an intention. It could just be a passing thought. I would really love to teach some more classes. And being in the present moment and gratitude. It's usually when we're rehashing the past or worrying about the future that we get into fear or regret. 1 foot in yesterday, 1 foot in tomorrow. You know what happens to today. I probably shouldn't say it from the platform, but it starts with a P. That's what you do all over today, right? Being in yesterday and in tomorrow. When we surrender fear and expectation, we allow the flow to reveal its higher purpose as us, through us, flowing through our lives. So what has confused me in the past? How do I live in the moment, set intentions for what I want, set intentions for the future, and surrender all at the same time? Like, how do you do that? You let go of the outcome. You set the intention, but you don't plan the outcome. And in doing that, we sort of set our ego aside. We set that control, that survival mechanism aside, and allow that divine inspiration to flow through us. Stillness in motion. Sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? And a paradox is something when you look at it, it appears to not be congruent or not be true. But on further investigation, you get the truth of it. Stillness in motion. And it doesn't mean that we drift without direction, but rather we awaken to the guidance of the present moment. Okay. This is not the slide I thought it was going to be. Let me go. Here, Rumi. Rumi said, "Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. And do not worry that your life is turning upside down. How do you know that the side you are used to is better than the one to come?" Change is scary. Change can be scary. And the challenge is not in letting go. The struggle is in holding on. Do you have something near you, like a pen or something? Okay, pick up the pen. Everybody got the pen? Okay, now put it down. Drop it. That's letting go. It's simple. It's not always easy when it's one of our deeply held beliefs. It's scary. Remember the cat that, like in the 70s, there were these posters that had a kitten like hanging onto a branch and said, "Hang on, baby." Let go. Let go. And Spirit always has our backs. Spirit is always for you. If the universe is for you, nothing can be against you. And it's hard to remember that when we're in the midst of some calamity or tragedy or something. When I got the call from my son, my first impulse was, like you did, right? And then I went to pray. I just went to prayer. As he was telling me the story, I was just praying, knowing his wholeness, knowing his good, knowing his health. He is a strong, healthy young man. He will get better. But sometimes it's scary. And Buddha said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment." That is another really amazing tool when you're in the midst of something. In this present moment, everything is okay. Let's take a moment to center right now. Let's just take a breath and release. Just centering and moving into this present moment, right here, right now. In the eternal moment of now. There is only now. Whatever happened this morning or last night, that's past. Whatever your plans are for later today or the week ahead, that's in the future. Right now, you are safe. Right now, you are warm, you are dry. Even if you're a little hungry, you know that that's not going to last forever. All is well. Even if you have any pain in your body, any dis-ease, any sniffles or illness, that is your body's way of communicating with you that it is on the job. It is healing you. It's doing what it's supposed to do to keep you in perfect wholeness in perfect balance, in perfect health. So I'm just knowing right here and right now that all is well. That there is one life. That life is God, known by many names, yet to name it is to limit it. So it is just that infinite, absolute presence that penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. Fills the space between that appears as separation, but it is all one. The manifest and the unmanifest, the pure potential. I just rest in that. I immerse myself in that infinite pool of receptivity and just allow the divine to just enfold me as I know it does each one of us. And so I just know that as we come together on this day, in this service, I am just so grateful. I am so grateful for the stillness. I'm grateful for the present moment. I'm grateful to remember my oneness, to remember the oneness for each one of us, to remember our connection to the divine, our connection to each other, knowing that Spirit indeed moves through each one of us, that the divine indeed flows as me, as you, in each moment of our lives, in the easy street and in the challenging times. It's all good. It's all God. And so I'm just so grateful for this time together. I'm grateful to share this experience with each person here in person, with everybody online. Grateful that you are here. And so I just allow the good to unfold in our lives as we move through the next days and hours, the week ahead, until we meet again. Knowing that there are so many opportunities between now and next Sunday for us to join together in this sacred spiritual community. There's so much to do. There's so much happening here. There's so much life. It is vibrant and alive, this community. And for all of this, I'm just so deeply, deeply grateful. So I speak my word into the law, knowing that it is the nature of the law to receive my word and act upon it. It is already done. It is already being made manifest, whether it takes 15 years or 15 seconds. I'm just so grateful for all of it. And so I just allow it to unfold, declaring it good. I say it is so, and so it is.
So it is.
Amen.